guys. Okay, here goes. I've been so nervous about doing this video that I have stalled it for like 2 weeks. Anyway, I just realised that I really had to just get over myself, and that this whole series, this whole journey of what I want to do on YouTube is not about me. It's about the hundreds of women and girls, and hopefully the thousands of women and girls whose lives I want to impact with the story that I feel God has given me to tell. So I'm just going to jump straight into it. So I'm on a healing journey. I've been single now for 6 years. Somewhat intentionally and through choice, although at times I probably wouldn't have agreed with that statement, but at the moment definitely by choice. I am a healing anxious attacher, a recovering codependent, and possibly lots of other terms that I really wouldn't love to brand myself with, but they are completely true. And the truth of it is that the journey I've been on, particularly in the last 6 years, really since I came to faith, since I gave my life to Jesus, that journey has been one of deep, deep healing and revelation about how my childhood of pain and trauma and abuse, sexual and physical, has impacted my adult relationships and really disabled me from being able to have healthy relationships in my adulthood. So part of this sharing is about encouraging and inspiring other women that I've been in places that I would never, ever have wanted to find myself. One of the most significant is about 6 years ago. In fact, it really was the catalyst to me coming to faith. I was in a relationship with somebody that was a recovering drug addict. And what we don't often talk about with addiction is that it is an illness, and there's so many other issues to it than just the addiction to the substance. But I think that actually, for me, the whole relationship, the whole chaos, the whole toxicity of it was very indicative of where I was at the time. And the fact that I got into a relationship, I saw some bad behaviours, or red flags, as I would now regard them. And instead of walking away, I looked at that situation and went, I know how I can help. Let's get a flat together and let's move in together, and I'll create as a home. And that will fix everything and make him be better again. And he'll love me so much that he'll want to change. It was from that place. If any of you have experience with addiction, then you'll, I'm sure, be able to relate. But it was from that place that I really learned about not being able to change anybody other than myself. But I think that I had to learn a real compassion for my own journey, and for the fact that I hadn't realised that, because really I didn't have the security, the safe adults, the protective factors that would have given me a sense of what a healthy and safe relationship looks like. And so from that point, I had many abusive and toxic relationships. And when I say abusive, I was often the abuser. I was often the person that would manipulate the situation, or attempt to manipulate the other person to feed a need that I had to be loved, to feel secure, to feel like somebody cared about me. And often the way that I would do that was by creating a drama. So it would be to, and not at the time, I wasn't intentional. I wasn't like, okay, I know what I'll do. I'll create a drama here and we'll have our own episode of EastEnders. It wasn't that. It was that I didn't know. I wasn't aware that the behaviours that I was bringing into the relationships were so unhealthy, because I wasn't meeting my own needs. And so recently I've done quite a lot of journeying around healing and how learning to love myself, and what it looks like to have healthy relationships, and all of that stuff. And really one of the biggest things that I've learned is about being able to meet my own needs first and foremost, so that then when I'm trying to meet the needs of other people, that I'm giving out from a place of being full. I'm giving out from a place of overflow and from a genuine intention to help and serve that other person, not to meet my own need to be needed. So what I've read about that recently in terms of the early psychology of that is that as children that haven't had our needs met, we begin by the caregivers around us. So by either mum, dad, healthy adult around us who is our key attachment figure. If they don't meet the needs that we have, in terms of emotional needs, to be wanted, to feel loved, to feel comforted, to feel affirmed, then we begin to believe that we don't have these needs at all, that we don't have any needs. And we almost start to cover up the real version of ourselves by creating a whole shell of a person that is not our true, authentic self. And really, that's what I did. I did that I don't even know when it started, because it wasn't a conscious decision. I think it's only now in reflection, when I look back, that I can see, oh, that's what I was doing. That's why I was doing that. Or that's the reason that I had all of this pain. That's the reason that I found all of these relationships, because I was just trying to meet these needs that I didn't really know that I had inside me. And so much of that pain came from a childhood where I'd been so mistreated. And it's really only in the last, I'd say 3-4 years, that I've started to realize how significant that mistreatment was, and how much of that I should never ever and nobody should ever have to experience. And that's really that's my fuel now, is that, so many children grow up in environments where parents don't realize the impact of their behaviors and their lack of emotional healthiness, or the lack of modeling of healthy relationships. And it's not because they don't want to, it's not because they don't love their children. For my mum, my mum had 5 of us, 5 girls, so I'm one of 5 girls, and I was the eldest, and we all, bar 2 of us, have different dads. So what that showed me is that I think when I look at that now, I think, well, she was obviously trying to find love. She was obviously trying to meet a need to be loved. And she would meet these men, I assume, and I don't have contact with her since she left. She left when I was 12 years old. So I haven't been able to ask her some of these questions, and I would love to. But I assume that she was looking for love, that she was trying to meet a need within herself. And so she'd meet these men, and maybe having children was part of that, that need to fix these people, or to say, I'm going to give you everything so that you'll want to stay with me. But eventually what that led to was that she had this nervous breakdown. She had a mental health breakdown. I was 12 at the time, and my youngest sister at the time was 6 months old. And she just left. And I think one of the most painful things about that is that now when I share that with other women, and particularly women who are mums, they're just so shocked that a mum could leave her children. And of course, it's not something that I think any woman would do if they were healthy or well within themselves. I think it's a decision that can only come from a deep place of pain and a deep place of confusion. And it's one of the reasons why I believe that this meeting our own needs is so important, because in doing that, in realizing and identifying who we are as people and what we need to be healthy, we then eradicate the need to bring other people into that mix and make it messy. Because what we do instead is work on ourselves and develop ourselves to a point where we're then able to go to them with our real self and our honest, authentic self and say, you know what, this is what I need in this relationship, or this is what would really help me to be a better person and to show up as the best version of myself for you in our relationship, whatever that may look like. So I found that is that the facets of a relationship are so complex, aren't they? And like, we've got work relationships, and we've got friendship relationships, and we've got romantic relationships, and then all of the other people that we will come into contact with around that. And so really, just for me, what I'm super passionate about doing is sharing this journey of healing that I feel as though I've been on, to the point now where the only thing that I think would make me hang up my single jacket would just be a really healthy relationship. And I'm sure we all say that, right? We're all like, well, of course I'll only not be single when somebody comes that's really healthy. And also I do recognize that, like, whilst that is my deepest intention, and I mean that with all sincerity, actually the challenges to that, because, you know, even when a male will show me attention of any kind, whether that's like a DM in my inbox, or that's a direct message for those of you that don't know, or whether that's whatever that might look like, you know, it's easy for me to be captivated by that, because I have a deep need to be affirmed and to feel loved by others. And that looks like wanting to be liked, that looks like wanting to get, you know, words of affirmation and my love language. So when I get nice text messages, or one of my really good friends just wrote me a really long letter and a card, and I'm like so excited. I haven't read it yet, but I just opened it and saw it, and I'm like, oh, all these words, I'm so excited. But this is I know that is a need that I have, and so I do recognize that I suppose what I'm saying is that there's going to be distractions along the way to finding this version of a healthy relationship. But the point is that I would like to think that it is only when that really healthy relationship is able to be present, i.e. when that other person is really healthy and on this journey of self-awareness and development and authenticity and vulnerability, that I will hang up that single jacket. And I really do mean that with the deepest intention, because I think I see around me so many people in relationships and even marriages where they don't have this ability to be honest and vulnerable with each other. And because of that, so much pain happens. And I just remember being in that place of pain and hopelessness inside of a relationship where you almost feel so entangled. You're like, how will I ever get out of this? How will I ever be able to find a way out? Because it just feels like such a web. And for anyone that is in that situation, I just want to encourage you that there is most definitely a way out, and there is most definitely a path to healthiness and wholeness, which is not easy, and it is a lot of work, and it involves digging up a lot of roots and having the most amazing tribe of people around you to support you to do that. But once you start that journey and you start to make promises to yourself that you keep, whether it's the smallest little thing, like I'm going to read a book this month, or I'm going to go for a run, or I'm going to do some exercise. When you really start to show up for yourself without anybody else watching or without anybody else looking, you really, then that's where there's true integrity, isn't it? That's where there's true authenticity in who you are. You start to be able to be authentic externally, because internally you are being really honest with yourself. There's this honest exchange of, I want to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to meet that need, and I'm going to fulfill this promise to myself. So I really just hope that something I've shared today might resonate with you, or just help you along the way in this healing journey, in this journey towards wholeness. And if it has, then please subscribe, and there will be more videos to come. where I hope to share just some real vulnerable and honest truths from my place of pain and share that from a perspective of power, which is where I believe I am now. I believe that in going on this healing journey and in finding wholeness in myself, I've become so much more powerful in my relationships as a woman, in my work, in my purpose. I want to create a community of women where we, and men, and I've honestly had some incredible conversations with men on this journey as well, but I want to create a community where we know that the pain and the hurt from our past can translate into our power. So I want to help us turn our pain into power and to really look at what is it on our journey that we need to do to find that wholeness and to heal those parts of us, those wounds within us, which are still causing unhealthy relationships and unhealthy behaviors for us today. So click the subscribe button if you're interested in being involved in this journey, involved in this community, and I can't wait to hear from you guys. You can follow me on Instagram. Love you all, and thank you for watching.